Welcome to Let's Talk Jets Radio.
What's up, everybody? Let's talk Jets. Back from the bye, Patriots week with a legend, a man with a whole new studio. GreenBean, what's up, man?
Dude, I'm psyched. I'm happy to be here with you, man. Like you said, it's Patriots week. This is a time, Tyson. We got to get this one.
You know, I have a lot of questions for you, actually. But first of all, talk about your studio, man. That thing looks high tech there.
Yeah,
looks sharp as hell.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. This was, I was on the road for 2 years, right? So I was traveling around the country. I never knew what internet I was going to have. Some nights, I'd try to get on, and 15 minutes into it, I get kicked off. I'm in the mountains. So it was really kind of a fun 2 years, but very difficult. So now that I'm back, we decided to buy a house in Virginia. The first thing I wanted to do, Tyson, was give myself some space because I'd been broadcasting from an RV for years. It's not easy to do it from people are, it looks like I'm alone in it, but I got people free, 3, 4, 5 feet away from me. So this is nice. I wanted to come and make my space. And this is when we came on this yard, I got 5.5 acres. There was a few sheds kind of sprinkled around the property, and we just eyeballed one and said, there it is. I gutted it, insulated it, rebuilt the floor, rebuilt the walls, everything, the ceiling, and then stuck some lights and some Jet stuff in it. So here we are, man.
It looks awesome, man. Congratulations. It looks phenomenal, man. Really, that's great. I'm envious, man. I'm going to go build a shed now.
So I believe everybody should. Everybody should have their shed.
So, Mr. GreenBean, you've been a content creator for a while like myself. How much fun has this season been to not be bitching and moaning and complaining and talking draft and talking fire the coach? Like, how much fun has this been for you?
Well, and I'll answer that. But can I ask you, I know you were years before me. As a matter of fact, I've heard you on a very early podcast, right? And we talked about that. But have you ever been a part of a winning season yet? Maybe 2015, like as a content creator?
Nope. 2015, but that was not really sustainable. We kind of knew that it was lightning in a bottle with Fitzpatrick. Nothing like this, though, man.
Yeah, we call that a snatch and grab. Real quick, try to grab something, and it didn't work, and we missed. Yep. But yeah, man, dude, how much fun is this? I've been doing this. I was with Jet Nation for about 1.5 years, 2 years exclusively, just Jet Nation. And then for the past December 31st, it'll be 2 years with my own channel. So it's about 4 years. And the whole time has been trying to keep Jets fans' heads up above water. Like, don't kill yourself. Like we're on our way. I was like,
the process.
Yeah, right. The first thing was just like, don't worry, Gase is going to be gone. We're going to get rid of Gase. Like, that's what that was the beginning. Like, oh, don't worry. But it does feel good. And the thing is, even though I can be critical, right? Like, Jets fans, I think we're expert at being critical. Because that's what we've needed to do for years. Yeah. And we get a bad rap, like we've been right for years, man, decades. We've been like, no, you shouldn't hire that guy. You should hire this guy. No, do not draft him. And we've been right so many more times as a collective than our damn organization. So I was tired of hearing, oh, what do you know? They know more than you. No, they don't. But I finally feel like this organization, the Joe Douglas regime, even from the first draft, and look, the 2020 draft, obviously it's taken a major hit with injuries and all the kinds of stuff. But even just the picks themselves, Tyson, left tackle, wide receiver, I was like, ooh, like, wait a second, somebody who knows how to do this is here. And look, you can't predict injuries and whatever else, happen. But I think it's fun, man. And I think Jets fans deserve it.
Yep.
And it's been a blast on this end. I got to tell you, I'm like nervous to be so damn confident. I feel confident. I feel like this team is actually good. It's not just a bunch of old men, piecing together a last miracle season. It's like, wait a minute, we got young legs. And this might actually be the beginning of something good, but I'm excited. I'm having a blast, Tyson. I really am.
I look forward to Sundays, dude. Like, I can't wait for football Sunday. I mean, we always like that as Jet fans. You always wait, but like you go in kind of knowing we suck, we're going to lose this and that. Now it's like I'm going and saying, no, we got one of the better defenses in football. We've got a lot of young talent. This team is bought. You have a lot of confidence in like the coach, in the general manager, in the talent on the team, in the depth. I mean, there's all kinds of things, and they've been challenged. And every little moment they can have a same old Jet kind of moment, they prove us wrong. Like everybody keeps doubting him, and they prove him wrong, doubting him, prove him wrong. And it's exciting, man. And I think the expectations have changed, and rightfully so. Like you're sitting at 6-3 coming out of the bye. And this, I guess my question to you is like, listen, I think 10 wins is reasonable. Like I think this team should make a run at the playoffs. And I don't think the AFC East is out of the question either. I mean, they have enough talent. They had the makeup to do it. Now, will they do it? I have no idea. But I think as a Jet to have that excitement, that energy, I think is warranted at this point.
Yeah. Well, look, 10 wins is 4-4 on the back end, right? Yep. I don't think that's too much.
Nope.
To ask. And the truth is, I'm feeling really good. Like when I look at the teams that we're playing without overlooking anybody, Chicago's coming on. Detroit, even though they have not won a lot of games, they have a lot of talent up there and they play hard and they can beat you. If you sleep on them, they'll beat you. Yep. And so I'm not overlooking anybody. At the same time, I think we match up quite well with most of these teams. And we have obviously our division, the second half of our division game, starting with the Pats and then the Dolphins and Bills again. Those are going to be hard. I find it real hard to believe that we're just going to walk in from not winning a division game in forever to all of a sudden sweeping everybody. I mean, and obviously the Patriots, we already lost one, but the Bills and Dolphins. So that's going to be a lot. That's going to be tough, right? It's going to be a tall order. I do think we can, should, and will beat the Patriots this week. I think that they're out for blood, our team. I think they know they're better. They know why they lost last time, and they're pissed about it. That's what I feel. And so,
100%.
But 10 wins. I mean, the beginning of the season, we were talking about 7 to 9, 7. Some people said 10, some people said 6, but in that range. And I think now 7 would be a major disappointment because it would mean that a collapse took place, a la Mangini. At the end of the year. But I think, 9, 10, 11 wins is certainly within realistic expectations. And honest to God, we could even make a run here. 6, 7. We could. Why not? We're 6-3 now. Why not win 5, 6 games on the back end? And if that happens, we've got a realistic shot to take this division, man. We do.
So now one of the big questions we have, I'm really glad the Patriots are the team coming out of the bye. I'm glad because they had the Jets' full attention. Like after the Buffalo win, the players were all talking about it. Like, we want payback. We want revenge. We want to get that game back. So like the worry about coming out flat or a letdown coming out to the bye or coming out, whatever. I think this team they've been focused for the last week and a half. Like they're ready. I think you're going to get a really good effort out of them on Sunday, which is great. But I also think it's a statement game, too, for them, man. I really think a lot of people are saying it's a must-win. I'm not sure it's definitely a must-win. It's a statement win for them. You don't want to get swept by the Patriots. And if you're looking at tiebreakers for either making the playoffs or even the division, you don't want to lose to the Patriots, man. You got to get that, just get the win, man. Don't you think? It's like, it's like not must-win, but you really, really, really have to get it to keep yourself, you're going to buy yourself more time. You're buy yourself wiggle room. If you beat the Patriots, you can lose a game, whatever, to the Lions or the Bears. It's an NFC game. Shit's going to happen, but don't lose the AFC game. You know what I mean?
I agree. And not getting swept this year, like getting swept by a team, even though they're Bill Belichick and they're always going to be well coached and they have talent too. Like, let's not make them out to be, the worst team in the NFL or anything, but we're better. We're a better team. The only thing they have on us is that they got Belichick. They have their system that's been in place forever, and they're cheating sons of bitches. I mean, we know that. Yeah. We know they will take every advantage that they can, and we know that. So I think, just like you said, I happen to agree with that. I'm glad it's the Pats, man, because we just played them a couple weeks ago. We had them beat. Tyson, that I'd say 3/4 of that game, I wasn't even thinking for a second that we weren't winning that game.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, we're clearly winning that. And then Zach decided to go, no, I'm going to give it away. No, I want to give it them. That's what it looked like. Without that, I mean, we had to have one of the worst quarterback performances, even though he threw for 355 and all that aside. That was one of the worst quarterback games, games from a quarterback that I've seen in a long time. And not just look, we've had 85-yard Sam Darnold games. We had Bubby Brister. We've seen some badass quarterback play, but that game was unique in that I never seen a quarterback do that before. Even though he's been doing that, running backwards and all that weird stuff, I never seen it quite like that. You're throwing a ball out of bounds and they pick it, and then you run 45 yards backwards. And I didn't know what I was seeing. So I think Zach obviously cleaned it up for Buffalo. And like you said, they have our attention. We're pissed about it. Zach was pissed right after the game. He said, look, we play them in 2 weeks. I'm done answering questions. I know what happened. We're going to get another shot at them in 2 weeks. And I think that they, coming out of the bye, the only interesting thing is that they had the bye this week too, which is not always the case. But if we were coming out, playing, like you said, a softer team, somebody with 1 or 2 victories, maybe we do sleep on them. Maybe we read our own press clippings and we think who we are. This time it is a statement game. We get over this hump and we have effectively at minimum split with our entire division. And we haven't done that in a long time, Tyson. I think it would bode well for us. I really do.
I definitely think so, man. I think it'll pay huge dividends on and off the field for the Jets. And I think they need another road win too. But I'm just thinking about all these tiebreakers and just they know they gave the game away. We talked about it. I was pissed the way Zach handled it. But then I'm like, all right, they come back against the Bills and, now the cynical Jet fan, we're going to get our asses kicked. And they come out and surprise everybody, and it's great. And now it's you go into the bye on the right momentum where everybody played good. You shocked the world. You got a big win at home, and now you move on. And now you go into the Patriot game where it's all right, Bill Belichick's had 2 weeks to look at that Bills tape and say, okay, what did Zach do in this game to become ridiculously comfortable, and how do I defend that? And I think the Jets did a lot of good things. But the most important thing is get the ball out of his hands quickly.
So
drop back, throw the ball, spread it around. And I'm one of the people that thinks that Elijah Moore is going to make a difference this week because I think they're actually going to use him because they have to. Belichick is going to find ways to take away Garrett Wilson. Belichick will find ways to take away, Conklin. So you got to use Elijah Moore. You got to use all these different playmakers. And that's kind of, we'll start with the first, is the offense. I think going forward, Zach Wilson, while he played well against Buffalo, is going to have to make big throws to win games. He's going to have to do that. And I think this week will be the same way. What are you thinking about Zach? I think he's going to have to become, game manager and effective, but maybe, be a difference maker as well.
Yeah. Well, you said a whole bunch there. And if I can, but it's funny because I agree with literally everything you said. Right. And I just on the Elijah Moore thing, I agree with you on both points that you made about Elijah Moore. Number one, I do think this is the week that we start to see him have an impact. I think, the last 2 weeks, he's been a good sport. He's been running around, doing the orbit motions, and he's been being a decoy, and he hasn't complained in a couple weeks. As soon as the trade deadline passed, he kind of said, all right, well, I guess this is my team. He stomped his feet. He tried. He tried to get out of here. It didn't work. Now you have to make you got to make lemonade out of your lemons. So he's been a good boy. He's been a good sport, and he's open. So I think that they're going to finally fold him in. And Zach and Moore had a pretty good chemistry last year. So it's not like they can't rekindle that. The other thing is, just like you said, I think that he's necessary. Yes, Garrett Wilson is going to be able to get open. Their cornerbacks, the kid Jones, right? Jack Jones. He's playing great, but he's questionable, right? We don't know if he's playing. He's probably going to play, but he looks good. But Garrett Wilson's going to be able to get open on these guys. That said, they're going to be focusing on him because he had 115 yards or something like that against them. Moore is going to be the perfect complement, and Mims, and then Berrios and everybody else. But I really do think it's going to be the Moore and Garrett Wilson show. And Zach Wilson, all he has to do, dude, this is it. You nailed it. They got to get the ball out of his hand fast. 3 steps, boom. 3 steps, boom. Quick, high percentage passes. We've been saying it for a long time. LaFleur was kind of stuck on this 5 to 7 step drops, these long developing plays. and it wasn't working for him.
Nope.
And I think we just saw it work in Buffalo. He was quick, he was precise, he was efficient, and I think that's really, that's really, really important. But the other thing is that if Zach Wilson simply, just instead of running backwards, takes the 4 yards, takes the 6 yards, first down. Look, what do you got? What, 4 yards? I'm sorry, 3 or 4 first downs against Buffalo. That's what you do. If they're coming in, nobody's open, take off. This particular defense has struggled with that all year. Take it. If that's how we get down the field, if they're going to leave you 5 yards, take it every time. When they finally, account for that, then you hit Moore or Wilson or Mims or whoever else. But if Zach simply makes that switch, just instead of running backwards, you take the 4 yards. I think it's that simple. We're going to win.
And he looks so much more comfortable doing so. Like, he rolls out to the right. You give him, like, you can do a pitch, you could throw it, or you could run for it yourself. And like the Buffalo game, I was screaming. I'm like, run for it. It's right in front of you. You see the green in front of you. It's there. Like, he's looking downfield, looking up, wants those big splash plays. Get the 5 yards, live for another play. And I'd rather have 2nd and 5 than 2nd and 10, or 3rd and 2 instead of 3rd and 7, whatever it is. Like, and and the in tempo, like, he gets in rhythm. You could see it, man. He gets a tempo. He's in that a huddle faster. He's in full command. Like, he's feeling it. And when he starts struggling and run around and getting those, you could see it, dude. He gets frazzled where he's like, he just doesn't know what the hell he's even doing. So I think it's on the floor, especially the scripted plays. For me, I'm really critical of the scripted plays, because for a long time, the first 15 plays were always terrible. Then the adjustments, Zach started.
Yeah, right. The second half is when he gets.
Like, it's just like, all right, but no, I have a lot of confidence if they can keep them in that play. There's enough playmakers on the field to be a very effective offense. Now, the one question I have is, something that came up today, which kind of surprised me, was Herbig is hurt, and I was like, man, like, that's a guy that we're calling the unsung hero of this offensive line that seems to get patched up every day. Now, that's interesting. I'm wondering if they're trying out LDT for that reason, because maybe they know, Sal and these guys, they lie about injuries all the time, man. When they say, I don't worry about him on Sunday, I'm already worried because I don't trust Salah. But I'm wondering if LDT is being important for that reason.
Yeah, well, he tried to slip that through in his press conference today. Sheldon Rankin or whoever, didn't practice today. And he said Herbig. And whoa. And somebody like there was like a 5-second pause, and somebody goes, "What's up with Herbig?" And he goes, he's dealing with leg. Oh, just a leg? That's all it is? Like, you'd think the way he said it was like, he bent his finger, but don't worry about it. He's going to be fine. But he said that he's not really worried about it. But just like you said, Tyson, this guy, whether he's just doesn't know how, he doesn't know what's going on, or he doesn't know how to say it, whatever it is, he has given us straight up bullshit numerous times. It's going to be 3 weeks. He's out a month. Or, hey, he can start on week 1. We're all talking about Zach starting. He's not starting a week 4. Don't shut up. Stop asking me questions. Like, wait, where did that come from? So I'm with you. I think that the LDT thing, even if Herbig wasn't hurt, I still think it's a good idea. But I do think that kind of accelerated things, because listen to this, man. Our only backup for the interior is Feeney. That's it. And we have Mike Remmers, who is essentially, he's a right tackle, but he can play left tackle, and he's played, I believe it's 2 full seasons at guard. So he can, out of his 9 years, 2 of them were at guard. So he can play guard. So I think they might be considering that. But at the same time, you got a brand new guy, Mike Remmers. He's older. He's really a tackle. So and then you have Dan Feeney backing up Laken Tomlinson, Connor McGovern, and Herbie. So it's like, okay, well, what happens if 2 of them go down? What the hell do we do? So I think bringing in LDT is a super smart move. He's comfortable with us, knows our system. He was here for the second half of last year. We know he's at least competent. He's a good NFL pro. He might not be spectacular, but he's not gonna give you Van Roten, right? We know that. We already know he's an upgrade from Van Roten. So I think it's a good move, and I think, man, I think there's more to this than maybe meets the eye. I do think Herbig will start, most likely. But, man, we got to keep an eye on that. That was not good to hear today.
No, it caught me. I had to do a double take. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, wait, hold on.
Everybody did. Everybody's like, whoa.
Then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not worried about it. He'll probably play on Sunday." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I don't trust you." Yeah, like because like me, the cynical guy, I'm like, you know what? They could be negotiating with LDT right now, and they could, once he finds out, oh, your guard's out, I want more money, or I want like you never know, man. Like
Totally.
I process all this shit, like that kind of stuff.
That's a good point, man. I didn't even think of that. I really didn't. Because that's what happened with Dwayne Brown. Remember, we were talking to Dwayne Brown, and then all of a sudden, Becton gets hurt. Dwayne Brown said, "Oh, was I going to sign for $3 million? I meant $11 million."
And I want more guaranteed money. Yeah, that's what I wonder about, that kind of shit. So
that's smart.
Yeah. So then the other thing is like I think the tight end position, Conklin's obviously he's come on. I mean, he was inconsistent at first, but now he's kind of shored up his hands a little bit. But I have this weird feeling Uzuma is going to get a lot more involved too, though. I think they're starting to find ways to get him involved because the wide receivers are going to start. I think they're going to focus coverage on the wide receivers where you could take advantage of. You actually have mismatches with our tight ends, both of them. And I think LaFleur is starting to figure it out. I think Zach's starting to figure it out. Like, you know what? I can have a safety valve. I can have a check down. I can look to these guys. They're huge targets that most linebackers safeties can't deal with. I got to get them the ball. Am I crazy?
No. And you've seen it the last maybe 4 weeks. Uzoma slowly but surely is becoming more of a presence in the offense. Now, he's not getting tons of receptions, but he is getting them now. He's getting 1 or maybe 2 targets a game, whatever it might be. But he's, with the ball in his hands, he's showing how aggressive he is. He's running dudes over and all that. But he's been instrumental in the blocking game. They've been pulling him all over the place on the running game. That last drive against Buffalo, I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but we broke it down on one of our streams. That last drive where we just ran down the field in the fourth quarter, LaFleur ran the exact same play 3 times in a row. And the key component, one of the key components was Uzoma pulling and leading, blocking and crushing people, knocking them. He did it 3 times in a row, man. And they depended on him. They trusted him to do that. And it was very effective. So I think you're right. And Zach just has to start, like you said it before. And we've talked about it for a year and a half now. He's got to cut the shit with the hero ball. And the way to do that is to just remove the potential for him to think. He overthinks it. He's like, oh my God, I got to just 3 steps. Boom. Your tight end's right there. Hit him. James Robinson's right there. Hit him. Touchdown. Michael Carter's right there. Hit him. Like, that's what we got to do. They're open 5 yards. Take it. Like, we got to do all that. If we keep Zach quick, I think he's going to, he's a much better quarterback. And I think that would really go a long way toward our offense. But our tight ends are a mismatch. And they're all super talented. And we still have Ruckert and Yeboah. These guys are good. We have good tight ends. I mean, 4 years ago, Yeboah is he's our starter. Now he's our 3rd or 4th ruck. You know what I mean? We're layers deep. And I think, the front 2, Conklin and Uzoma, are legit, man. And if we use them, it's going to be good for us.
That's what I think. Like, it's like, like you talk about the Jets, like we're not overstating things. They have a lot of talent on offense. Just spread the ball around. Like even like a Jeff Smith, a Barrios, all these guys can play a role and do things. You have very good running backs and Robinson and Carter. Like they can do it all. So it's like on offense, it's like it comes down to Zach. Manage the game, no stupid mistakes, no dumb turnovers. You'll be fine. On defense, obviously, that's the face of the franchise right now. That's the one that's setting the tone and establishing the presence on the field. But I guess the first question I have you is, how big of a loss is Rankin's going to be, do you think?
Well, I think he is a big loss. I mean, when we heard, I think it was Quinnen who said, you guys don't realize how big of a loss he is. Yeah. He's kind of a leader in there. And that was one of the attractive things when he was at New Orleans. I mean, that was one of the things that they wanted him for, was how much, how respected and how much of a leader he was. But in addition to that, he's been coming on, man. He's been really impactful. He's been making plays in the run game, even in the passing game. So I think he is a loss, but at the same time, I also think that it might really force the Jets to do something that a lot of us have been kind of pining for, which was move JFM inside already. Yep. Will you move him inside? I mean, look, he's having a good season. We're not saying he sucks, but you got 2 kids over there, Jermaine Johnson and Bryce Huff, that when JFM's over there, he's keeping them off the field. You want to get JFM and Jermaine Johnson, or Bryce Huff for that matter, on the field together, slide them inside, and then we get both. And I think Rankin's going down might force them to consider that more, and we might see that alignment a lot more. And I think that it's going to be very effective. And in that case, they're going to actually like it. Not to think, I'm not saying Rankins won't be brought back in and be a factor and all that stuff. But I think it is a loss, but I think we have the horses to maybe account for it.
Yeah, and that's the one thing with this Jets defense. I think the last time they played the Patriots, they had, 6 sacks or some crazy number? Yeah. So it's like you expect the same thing. Like I expect the same thing because I think this defense is getting better. They're getting more confident, I made fun of the platoon for the rotations for a while. Yeah. But now you're seeing it pay off where the guys are coming in and they're flying around for 4 quarters. It's like it's relentless, man. Like where other teams start fading around the fourth quarter, this defense is coming after you, guy after guy with speed, athleticism. Carl Lawson many times is becoming an afterthought where we're focusing on how Huff's becoming a closer. And even Michael Clemens is coming in. Do you expect the same kind of pass rush and kind of aggressive nature on Sunday when the defense takes on Mac Jones?
Yeah, I do. I happen to agree with you again. Like, I think that they can. I mean, Quinnen Williams was all but stealing Cole Strange's lunch, and he's a good player, and whether it was the center or the guard, I mean, Quinnen Williams was almost unstoppable. They have to double him and they have to, design their plays to get away from him. But then again, you got Carl Lawson over there, or you got JFM over there, or Bryce Huff, or whoever it is. We're all over the place. Michael Clemens, like you see, he comes in for 19 plays and he gets a sack and 4 tackles. I mean, the guy's out of control. Yeah. So we have this really neat rotation, which, just like you said, man, I'm going to jump on there with you. I was hypercritical of the rotation. Not that I didn't like the idea of a rotation. I thought it was way lopsided. I like that they traded Jacob Martin because that removed one guy from the mix. Not that I didn't like Jacob Martin, but he was clearly the least impactful of the bunch. You get a late, you get a pick for him, a mid-round pick later on, a 5th to a 4th, and he gets to go somewhere and start or whatever it is. And then we get to focus on our own young guys, Jermaine Johnson, Bryce Huff, Michael Clemens, and even Carl Lawson. But I think, dude, we're seeing the results. As critical as I was, the fourth quarter is all but ours. We're owning fourth quarters, and yet that was their plan. They told us in training camp. The design here is so when the fourth quarter comes around, we still have gas in the tank when the other team doesn't. And you're seeing it. I mean, dude, we're dominating fourth quarters. I've never seen anything like it. Dominating fourth quarters or coming back and, being consistently powerful and potent in the fourth quarter is the sign of a veteran team. Yes. We are doing this with kids. So I think it's really incredible to me. And I do expect the same thing. I just think whether, the scheme and stuff can obviously protect quarterbacks and running backs to a certain degree. But when your defensive line and cornerbacks are just flat out that much better, they're going to get home. Whether it takes a quarter or two, they're going to get home. And I think that they're going to be the real difference. I think we're going to, see our defense pissed, out for blood. I think they want revenge. We're all using the word revenge, right? I think they feel the same thing. They're like, not again. Yep. And we're going to show you why. And I think the rotation's a big part of that.
Yeah, I love the fact that this defense has so much pride, man. They take a lot of pride in their work. They take a pride in their results. And this is the biggest difference. Because like I said, I've been watching the team forever. This is the difference between this defense and Rex Ryan's defense. Rex Ryan's defense could not get off the field in the fourth quarter, in the big spots, the 2-minute drill, 2 minutes before half. They always give up points. This team has closers as pass rushers. You have guys that are legitimately off the end that you have to worry about. They're flying around and they're relentless. And it's speed. My biggest complaint for years was the Jets lack sideline to sideline speed. Not only do they not lack it, they have an abundance of it, it's just amazing to watch. Yeah. And Quinnen Williams, to me, is he's becoming the player we all wanted him to be. We always said, this is going to be his money year, but we always knew he had potential, dude, because he was such a great athlete, great kid, film junkie, does all the right things, but you want to see that next level. Now you're seeing it, and it's okay, he's dominating, all pro kind of shit. You know what I mean? It's exciting, but do you start saying, at what point did the Jets start talking contract with him? Is he approaching that point where you say, we got to keep him here long term?
Oh, hell yeah. And I think you got to give him whatever the hell he wants. You got to figure it out. You can get creative, just like every other team gets creative. The Denver Broncos seem to be able to sign whoever the hell they want. The Saints have been doing it. Dude, 2 years ago, the Saints were $109 million over the cap at the beginning of the offseason. They didn't lose anybody. How the hell do you do that?
The Rams.
So, the Rams, geesh.
Anybody they want, they go, yeah, come on, we'll sign them. They get $40 million per year. That's what they do. So we have to be able to do that too. And I think Joe Douglas has the chops to do that. He hasn't, saddled us with one poor contract yet. Not one, Tyson, where we're used to that. We're used to paying what we call it, the jet tax, right? For years. If we're going to get, even like Avery Williamson came out last year and he said he was about to put pen to paper for the Titans. He was moving over. I think he was, where was he? He was, where the hell? I think he was signing with Tennessee or signing with Indianapolis, one or the other. And he said the Jets swooped in at the last minute and like gave me $2-3 million more per year. I couldn't ignore that. So next year I guess I'm going to be a Jet. And that's what we had to do. We did it with Tremaine Johnson, but we don't have that anymore. So I do believe Joe Douglas is going to keep Quinnen. I think you have to keep Quinnen. I think he's the guy. He's our Aaron Donald, man. And not to say he is Aaron Donald, right? Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald, but he's our version of that. And I think he's got to be a Jet. You give him a 5-year contract and you keep him here. So that'll be 10 straight years. And then you figure it out then, whatever he is, but you keep him here his whole career. I just made a video about or a little segment about Sean Ellis. Like he was here for 11 years.
Oh, loved him.
And then the last year he wanted to play one more year. The Jets, they offer him vet minimum and the Patriots offer him, $2.8 million. And he goes, come on, man. What? Just sign him. It's $2 million. Keep the guy a Jet. He had 2 sacks, really 3 against Tom Brady in the 2010 playoff game. Like, how do you snub a guy like that? So in my opinion, when a guy is a good Jet, you keep him here his whole career. We haven't seen much of that, obviously. I think Mangold was the last guy. But yeah, I'd like to see that. But dude, just like you were saying, this is his big time year, but he's been doing it. He's been getting better every single year. And here's what I like about Quinnen Williams. And I've been saying it for years, man, with players like I like to use Jamal Adams as the comparison. Jamal Adams, all pro, good player, real passionate, high energy. You can't take anything from him except that when the play was, when the game was on the line, rarely was he the guy to make the big play. There was a couple. I think there was one against Gronkowski in the end zone. And there's like 1 or 2 in 4 years. Quinnen Williams gets his stats on 3rd down, on 4th down. Like he comes up big when you need someone to come up big. And that's a big difference. Not all stats are the same, Tyson. Like, look, I'm not going to take anything away from a guy who gets a sack, 3 minutes into the first quarter on 2nd down, right? It's still a sack. It's still a good play. It's still important, but it does not have the same weight as 4th and 1 in the 4th quarter. That's Quinnen Williams. And that's what he does. And that's why he's so important, man. Look, he blocked a damn field goal. I mean, he knows how to come up big. And that's the thing. Like, look, I liked Jamal Adams as much as the next Jets fan. Of course, we don't have anybody. So we have a guy who's making it to all pro. Of course, you don't want to see him, go away. But what Joe Douglas got, I never even questioned it because I knew in my heart Jamal Adams is a compiler. He's a stat compiler. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't make the team any better. But Quinnen Williams, on the other hand, does. And I think he's such an important piece of what we're doing here. And I still think he's on the upswing, man. I really do. I think he's ascending still.
No, you very well said, but I agree with everything you said there. And it's just like he's a young piece to the puzzle. We forget how young he is, dude. Like this is your young nucleus. You're putting guys like this with the secondary. Like that's your building blocks. That's your foundation. That's your blueprint going forward. And then you see a guy that's developing in your system. If you say keep your own, and you got to worry about the locker room. You keep a guy like that in the mix. That talks to your locker room too. Like we're keeping one of our own that did the right thing, did by us, and performed at an all-pro level. That's our guy. So then you go from the defensive line to a player that was a man on a mission against Buffalo, C.J. Mosley, man. Like C.J. Mosley is like a hot and cold with Jet fans. Some people absolutely hate him. Some people actually love him. But last year, he was the heart and soul of this defense, which was terrible. This year, he got hurt last week against Buffalo, and I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, we are so fucked. And then he came back from injury and was lighting up everybody. If anybody standing next to him where blue was getting cracked, dude. It was wild. Yeah. He's playing pretty good, man.
Yeah, the only downside with CJ Mosley, and it is a legitimate gripe that people have, is that he gets taken advantage of sometimes in coverage. Like tight ends are able to beat him, particularly running backs. Like he doesn't seem to have the ability to stick with a running back consistently. He does at times, but that's a weakness in his game right now. The good news is he's so cerebral that he's able to detect those things kind of before it happens a lot of times. So he can defend them that way. But like you said, dude, he's getting, 10, 12 tackles a game, 8 solo. Like he's out of control. You know what was good news? Like you said, when he went down, I was like, oh no, here it goes. I mean, Buffalo again. We all said the same shit. We had the same exact fears, all of us. And I was really nervous. But the silver lining there is that the kid that's behind him, Jamien Sherwood, who is second on the team in special teams tackles, and he's lighting it up on special teams. He came in for those 4 plays. He made all 4 tackles.
Yeah.
All 4 tackles. So, I mean, like that's the thing. Now, I'm not saying he's CJ Mosley, but it's nice to know that Harvey Lange isn't coming in, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like some guy that, as much as he runs around, we all cheer for him. We love your effort. But Harvey Lange is not, he's not CJ Mosley. We know the drop off. And that's the thing. Like we're starting to see a team with 1, 2, even 3 layers deep. That if somebody goes down, somebody's coming in that can actually play the damn game of football at an NFL level. And that's what's really, and we're still in the early stages of that, like the whole development and pipeline. We're starting to see that, Tyson. And I couldn't be more excited. But CJ Mosley's another one, man. He's going to make $21 million next year. That's his cap hit. If we cut him, there's a $14 million and change dead cap. So no matter how you slice it, he's going to cost $14 million, even if he's not on the team. But he's the kind of guy, it's like, don't you think you got to just make him a Jet for life? I mean, would CJ Mosley be willing to say, look, I know I got overpaid. I made $17 million a year for 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give me $12 million for the next 4, because that would be good payment, good, but not like breaking the bank. I don't know if he would do that, but I'd like to see them find some agreement with him and extend him and keep him, keep him here for the next 3 or 4 years as well as that nucleus. Like you said, like he's the vet leader, the heart, the soul, the anger, the intelligence and everything that he brings to the table. He's been a man on a mission, man. And I think he's important too.
No, I think it's really important. The linebacker group, especially with I love what Quan Alexander brings to the group, man. Like Quincy Williams is the speed, the thump, the passion, but Quan Alexander comes in and just lays lumber. And he's like that intensity, that mindset. You could see it. Like this, I think the biggest difference between this defense and other defenses is just their intensity, their passion, and they're just so aggressive, man. And they're all for one, dude. They're all literally flying around. So I think, going into the Patriot game, like the linebacker group, you mentioned like usually historically the Jets struggle against tight ends and against running backs covering them. Yeah. But I just have like these guys, they're playing much better than they usually do, man. And Quincy Williams, especially Quincy Williams, I was kind of critical of him last year. I thought he was a decent player, but I didn't think he was high level starter. I thought that you could have looked for an upgrade at some point, but he's proved me wrong as well, dude. Like I think he's playing really well. He's doing a lot of really good things out there.
Yeah. Well, look, just so you know, I was right there with you. I did not think for a split second that Quincy Williams was legitimately who they could count on to be the starter next to CJ Mosley. Said he's a nice player. You bring him in for a for packages. He lays the wood on running downs. He's like a missile.
Yep.
And he's good to have on the team, but you don't want him to be your starter. Excuse me. I was convinced that they were grabbing a linebacker in the first 3 rounds. I honestly thought that it could be the first, and if not, it was going to be one of our second round picks. I was convinced of that. When they didn't, and then even in the third, I forget which linebacker was there, but there was a couple really good linebacker, and they took Ruckert. I was like, wow. And then in the fourth, they took Max Mitchell, which I loved, but then Michael Clemens. I'm like, wow, not one linebacker. Yeah. Holy shit. I couldn't believe it. But like you said, they were able to get Quan Alexander for a song, man. I mean, they got, what is it, $1 million?
Yep.
And he's been a godsend. The thing with Quan Alexander has never been effort, talent, impact. It's always been his health. It's been his injuries. So far, so good, man, because they're not using him as like the every down, kind of anchor to the team. He's coming in and he's having such an impact. Look, since he came in, to our game, like the whole screen. Remember how much we were getting eaten alive by it? Like it's all but gone.
Yep.
We don't see that shit anymore. I think he is a big, he's a big impact on that. I think he has something to do with that whole screen thing. I think our linebackers, imperfect. I think they're playing their balls off. I have no issues really with those guys who we have right now.
No, I agree. The front is, the front is great. The linebackers are very good. And then you go to two of the most talked about players on the team, I think, on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm going to go with my favorite guy. And it's not going to be Sauce. It's DJ Reed, dude.
Yeah.
I love him. And I think that signing is going to end up being like so pivotal for this defense because he's very good. I mean, he's playing at a Pro Bowl level. He's been a tremendous mentor for Sauce. Like at practice, they're tied up all the time. But I go back to when after I forget what game it was. Maybe I don't think it was the Baltimore game. I forget what the loss it was, where DJ Reed spoke out and said, "You know what? Like there's communication problems between the players. There's communication problems between the coaches."
Yep.
And he was pissed, dude. Like we have to have higher standards here. This is not acceptable. He was literally outspoken about all this shit that was going on. Dude, the next week all the problems went away.
Yeah,
like he was
crazy.
A big part of that, man. And he's taking on a lot of times Saleh doesn't have the corners, follow the receivers. So they'll put DJ Reed on Stephon Diggs. Like they don't give a rat's ass.
Yeah.
And he's doing very well, man. Like I am so impressed by him. And I love what he brings to this defense. Cause like Sauce obviously is doing his thing, but DJ Reed to come in like that and have that impact and kind of settle things down and get everybody organized. And then if people are going to go away from Sauce, he's up for the challenge every week.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, man. I think it's a fantastic signing. I liked the signing, but I had my concerns. I'm like, oh, that's the guy that we're kind of, I don't know. I liked him. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But it was like, I didn't think that it would be this impactful. And you just nailed it that was after the Bengals game, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yep. And there were lots of reasons to be concerned. And he said, look, this is not it. We have some talking to do. We're going to have player meetings. And we got to talk to the coaches because everybody needs to take a look at what they're doing right now. And like you said, the next week it was totally different. And we've been on the upswing since then. And I think, dude, pairing him with Sauce Gardner, I mean, it's almost like, it's like they're shutting receiving cores down. And let's not forget the other guy. Michael Carter, the second in the slot. We don't hear anything. I mean, the only time we hear his name is when he's picking something off or it's like, dude, he's shutting guys down. These three guys together, especially paired with our defensive line. I mean, it's almost like teams don't have a chance a lot of the time, really. I mean, and I'm not getting cocky or anything like that. They are still only in their 8th or 9th game together. Like this is going to be their 10th game together ever. And they're already looking like a cohesive unit. And just like we said with Quinnen, I think that they're only going to get better. I really do believe that. But I agree with you that DJ Reed is kind of the unsung hero. He came in with that vet leadership, that experience, and he's only 25 too, Tyson.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
That's the thing. Like even our vets that we're bringing in are generally 25, 26. Like we're not going for the 38-year-old guy or whatever, 33-year-old guy hoping he's got something left in the tank and we're overpaying him. And that's why he's here. Some big name. So many years we did that stuff.
Yep.
It's nice to see us be able to get impactful guys that are 25, 26 years old too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Michael Carter's second year, so it's like they're a young group and they're growing, and that was always the thing. I'm like, all right, well, teams are going to go away from Sauce, go away from Reed. They're going to challenge Carter, and he's up for the challenge. And then you go to Sauce, and it's like, one of the biggest questions was he came in with all this hype, man. Like Sauce, can he be the next Reeves? Can he be this?
Right.
When he gives up a touchdown, how's he going to react? And the guy has been as advertised. He's tenacious. He's a technician. He hates making mistakes. And he gets better week in and week out, and he can go with anybody, dude. You can put him on any receiver in the NFL, and you feel comfortable with it. And it's his rookie year. Like
it's crazy.
It's just wild.
Crazy.
And people want to talk about the whole Reeves and Cromartie comparison. I'm like, well, the difference is these guys are young as shit. Like that's the difference there. Like these guys are not even like Sauce is nowhere near his prime. DJ Reed's probably in his prime now, but like you're getting them at the best time to be there along with Carter.
Yeah, well, dude, you're so right. I mean, look, Cromartie and Revis were great. We're not going to take anything away from them. But and you kind of, you mentioned it before, but even the defenses that they were on, like as great as the Rex Ryan defense was, they would have a dominating week, and the next week it was almost like they forgot how to play football. It's like they, because he depended on all sorts of exotic schemes and to try to create pressure. And if he couldn't do that, then it put the whole team kind of at a disadvantage. And we saw that. Now Revis was lockdown, and he was the best I've ever seen. All right, he was so, and 2009 in particular was more than likely the best cornerback season in NFL history. I mean, he shut down everybody. So but just like you said, man, Sauce Gardner, he's not Revis. He's completely different. But dude, Revis wasn't even Revis his rookie year. He was good. He was a good cornerback. But Sauce is like letting you know, like, I mean, you said as advertised. I mean, I think more than advertised. I mean, I never saw this coming. I thought, hey, every rookie struggles, particularly cornerbacks. Even when they have good seasons, they still struggle. Dude, he's like lights out. I saw a really good breakdown. I don't know if you saw it. It's by a guy named Brett Coleman with a K. Did you see it? Dude. I mean, and it's just, I love guys that can do that. That's not really my forte, right? Like I know the game of football. I can break it down to a certain degree, but I don't really have that level of break. You know what I mean? And it's like guys like Joe Blewett and all those, Luke from Play Like a Jet, like that's what they do. And I just let them do it. I defer to them. Hey man, did you hear what he said? But it's like, but Brett Coleman, if you guys that are watching didn't see it, it's really worth a watch. It's like 10 minutes or something. But like when you see his level of excitement, he's not a fan of the Jets. He's not a Sauce Gardner homer. He's like, dude, look at this guy. And he talks about how teams are already scheming for the tendencies that Sauce Gardner brings to the table, knowing that he's going to study the film. And did you see that one play? What team was it? But the quarterback, it might have been the Pats, or I'm not sure, but he just looked over and gave the little nod to it was just a little hidden signal. And Sauce caught it and made the play. He saw it. They'd never done it before all season. It wasn't on tape. And he saw it, recognized it, reacted, and stopped it all within a matter of 1 second. Dude, that guy. He's unbelievable, man. And I hate to even talk Tyson. While I'm saying this, I'm like freaking out. There's a guy in my head like, shut up. What are you doing? You're going to jinx it. That's what I got. Now I'm damaged goods, bro. But it's like, what he's done up to this point has been mind blowing for me. I can't even, but like you said, I have so much confidence in them. When the ball goes up, I used to damn near shit myself. You know what I mean? Oh no, it's over. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter who it is. Now, of course, they could make a play, but I feel like our guys have just as good of a shot of stopping that than they have to get it. And I think that's worth its weight in gold, man. We're not used to.
No, I agree, dude. That's why going to this Patriot game, I'm like, you legitimately have confidence in this defense where it's like, we can shut you down. We can create turnovers. We can smack the quarterback around, and whatever playmakers you may have, you can find ways to stop them. Like and it's not even being like arrogant I'm arrogant as shit right now. I'm talking all kinds of shit, but it's proven but it's week in and week out, they're doing it. Like, it's like even last week, when they played the Bills, where it's like, oh, Stephon Diggs gets the big catch to start the game. You're like, oh shit, here we go. They make adjustments. They figure it out. And like, that was the other thing that I give the Jets credit for. Last year, it literally drove me insane that this coaching staff made no adjustments. It was like they were getting gouged. And in the press conference, they make some kind of bullshit excuse. You're like, dude, your excuses, it's not the scheme, but it's not the players. Well, then what is it?
What is it? It's you.
Is it the weather? What is it? And now
it's perception.
You literally see in-game adjustments. You see adjustments after halftime. You see adjustments going into the fourth quarter on offense and defense. And it gives you, it's like, wow, like we have a team that's being coached. Like, it's like we're seeing so many new things this year. Like we're seeing game-breaking talent on both sides of the ball. You're seeing them win games, close out games, and you're saying, okay, wait, they actually know what the fuck they're doing. Like they're finding ways, like even managing the game better with time. Like just you're seeing so much improvement and progress that there's no reason not to have confidence this weekend. Like I'm going to the Patriot game saying, you know what? Yes, I understand they're a 3-point underdog or 3.5, whatever the hell it is. I don't care. I think the Jets are the better team. I think they should win this game. If they don't, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
But there's tangible evidence why. And we just talked about it for whatever 40 minutes. But dude, they have talent.
Oh, wow.
But
49
it's like, but this defense has so much talent that it's game-breaking talent. It could change it in a second where it's like you're getting points off it. The time of possession could change, your field possession could change, everything. It's significant, man.
Yeah. And just like you said, with the field position, I mean, even our special teams, while the Patriots game, I believe, was their worst game of the year. Interestingly enough, it's just one of those things. It's like the Patriots have that black magic thing going on. There's just like a cloud that we have to shake this monkey off our back. We just have to. It's like bigger than it really is, right? But even our special teams, the field position battle, when our offense continually fails, you can be pretty confident that, don't worry, our special teams is going to at least even it out somewhat. We're not going to be, backed up in our own end zone for the most part. And that's kind of, dude, this is a well-rounded team. And you just said it last year. It was maddening watching it, but it's interesting. Remember when Rex Ryan was like, these guys are a joke. How dare you compare Saleh to me? And remember all that stuff? And then he gets on the phone with Saleh and he comes back next week. He's like, I talked to that guy. Yeah, they're good. They know what they're doing. And that's the thing. Like, I think the cool thing about Joe Douglas, and it looks like Robert Saleh and Ulbricht and LaFleur and all the boys, is that they really aren't feeling the pressure of us as a fan base, of the media saying, you got to do something now. And they're just like, no. This is a 3-year thing, to even get started. We're cleaning it out. We're cleaning the cupboards. You can't yell at me about curtains when I'm still ripping up the floor. Okay. I'm not even by the curtains yet. Shut your face. So I think they're taking the time necessary to actually enact the plan that they have agreed upon together. And I think last year, as frustrating as it was for us to watch, because for us, this is just year 11 of suctitude. You know what I mean?
Trust in the process.
Dude, the last time we were good, I swear, I didn't even have a gray beard, Tyson. I was a fucking young man, dude.
I think I had hair at that point. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So it's like, for us, it's hard. And I think, rightfully so. I think, look, Jets fans, some of us are pretty damn extreme, and I think we go maybe too far sometimes. But I think overall, we're justified in this madness, right? But I think it's nice to see that this year, in year 2, they were able to have a couple years of acquiring the players they wanted to acquire. Now they have some of these guys are in their system 2 years. Brandon Eccles, Michael Carter II, Michael Carter the first, AVT, who was having an all-pro season. So they're, we're starting to see that stuff. And now that they have that foundation, just like you said, we're seeing them make the necessary adjustments, because guess what? Even if you were thinking year 3 was the year you were going to go for it, just so happens we might even have a shot to accelerate that plan. We have a shot now. We're good enough now. And the AFC is up for grabs, man. Look at the Bills. They're on a 2-game slide. Who saw that coming? And if Josh Allen reverts back to the Josh Allen of the first 2 years, not that he wasn't a good quarterback, strong arm, great legs, but he made those boneheaded mistakes. And we saw 5 of them in the last 2 weeks, 2 of them against us, 3 against the Vikings. And if that happens, dude, this division is up for grabs. And why not take your swing, right? Why not, man?
Well, and that's where I think this game on Sunday is so important. And like the way I'm just like this Jet fan right now. Like I'll tell you exactly how I'm thinking. I'm like, the last time they played, the Jets gave it away. Zach Wilson threw the ball all over the place. The defense had the penalties that drove you crazy. The one on CJ Mosley, the one on John Franklin Myers. Right. But you have that, and special teams fell apart. It's like the Jets literally handed the game away. So now it's like this week, I'm like, that's not, in my mind, that's not going to happen again. Zach's not going to give you 3 turnovers. We're not going to give you, 30 yards and shitty penalties and take away a touchdown. Like, I think all that's going to come back and be like, you're going to see a much better version of the Jets against this Patriot team, and they should win the game. And I think they're going to win it. I feel like this is, they know what's at stake. They have, like, you could smack around, like, people don't talk about Mac Jones so much, but like you can rattle him as well. I think,
Totally.
to be completely honest with you, I think if John Franklin Myers doesn't get that penalty, I'm guessing Mac Jones is probably out of the game after that point, coming out of halftime.
That was halftime, right? We
Right.
would have saw Bailey's. I said the same thing, Tyson, because that's 17-3 at the half. Mac Jones had 2 interceptions, 1 pick six. He's out.
Yep.
He's out. And then we would have saw the young buck come in, and then we would have had to, rattle. He would have came in and said, "Holy shit, these guys are out of control."
Yep.
We're not the Bears. You know what I mean? We're not the Bears defense. This is serious. So I think you're so right, man. That little period of time, that first pick, and then the John Franklin Myers penalty that removed the pick six, instead of 17-3, it was 10-6. And that just kind of sucked the life. And now we had plenty of time to win the game. I'm not saying that was everything, but it was like the turning of the tide, and just like you said, I don't think that's going to happen again. I think that we know exactly who we're playing. We know exactly, the guy in front of me. I know I can beat him. I beat the shit out of him all last week, and I'm going to do it again. I know how to beat these guys. And I think that not only can we win, Tyson, I honestly believe that there's also the potential of a bloodbath. I think that we could run away with that. I do. I think that we could make them pay. That's what I think.
No, I completely agree. Like, that's like, I keep thinking about it. I'm like, and you try to think about it logically. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to drink the Jets Kool-Aid. I'm going to try to think rational here. Because you try to be like, because like, if you put out some bullshit content, people are like, oh, dude, you're out of your mind. I'm like, no, like the shit we're talking about is legitimate. Like, this defense is for real. You can rattle Mac Jones. You can make him you can force him into bad plays. This isn't this is a defense that can take advantage of their offense. And I have a level of confidence in LaFleur and Zach Wilson keeping things on the same page as Buffalo and bringing that same format to this game. I think probably more success because I think they're using playmakers better. So I'm encouraged. I'm excited, man. Usually you kind of go in like kind of skeptical, like, what the fuck's gonna happen? I'm like, I think I know, right? I think this team, the Jets, can be more physical. They're gonna be more aggressive. They're playing a lot more confidence. They know, and I think that chip on their shoulder, like this young team, dude, they are like, they don't know about the Jets' past. They don't give a fuck. The only thing this team knows about right now is we want to be in first place. We want this game back because we are pissed off, and that, I think it's just gonna make an enormous difference.
I do. Now, the one thing I will say is I do believe that Bill Belichick is aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
He sees it. He senses it. He's not an idiot, right?
Yep.
And I think that he knows that this is maybe the turn. He's going to throw everything he can at us. That's what I think. I think we got to be ready for that because he's going to do everything within his power to stymie this. He knows it. We live and die by this quarterback. And so far, he's been able to force him to throw 8 interceptions in 3 games and look like an absolute fool. The opening day, you were there. I actually met you that day. Yeah, threw 4 friggin' picks. Then the next game, I think he only played a quarter or something like that. They knocked him out, or a half. Cheap ass play on his knee on the sideline. And then this year he throws the 3 picks. So whatever it is, he's been able to get into Zach Wilson's head. And I believe he's going to do everything he can to do that again, because no matter how good Sauce Gardner is, if Zach Wilson's throwing picks, they got a shot. And I think that's what it's all about. LaFleur, Saleh, we have to protect that kid, make sure that we're not leaning on him, 44 dropbacks, 7-step drops. We got to take care of him. And if we do, just like we did in Buffalo, I think we're going to kick the living shit out of them, Tyson. That's what I think.
And I think so, too. You mentioned this earlier, but I think Zach Wilson took that last loss to the Patriots personally. I think every loss you take personally, you're like, oh, well, we lost. I think he looked himself in the mirror and be like, you know what? Fuck this. This can't happen again. Because I think he realizes how good his team is, how much his team is putting in, how much confidence is putting in him, and he let them down. And he did. But he had that look. He's like, you know what? And he's a film junkie. He's a work ethic. The work ethic's not an issue. He's not out gallivanting, hitting the bars every night. He's doing all the right things. Right. And I think he took that loss personally, dude. I have a level of confidence where he's like, you know what? I got to fix this. I got to put it in the system because my team needs me. Because if I do my job, we're going to keep winning and go where we want to be. I think something turned for them there, dude. I really do. Yeah.
No, I could not agree more. I honestly believe that. And it started with his responses in the press conference. He said I know I got to do this. He said that, but then he kind of cut them off and said, listen, we play them again in 2 weeks. Yep. I'll show you. And I think you're right. The whole team, every other facet of the game, we were outmanning them. Every other place on the field, we were outmanning them. And he knows. He knows it was him. And look at his response in Buffalo. He didn't take one step backwards, not one step. Every step was forward. And I think the only concern I have is that he wants it so bad that he starts sinking into that old shit. That's on LaFleur. That's on Calabrese. That's on, the offensive staff to go, hey, take your dump off. Just take Michael Carter, stand him right there, give it to him. He'll get 8 yards. Just drop it in his bucket. That's what you got to do. And again, if he sees 3, 4, 6 yards on second down, third and 4, take it, man. Take it. Take the first, live to fight. Take the 4 yard slide on your ass. First down. Let's start over. If he can do that, and I think he's ready to, I think something turned to. I'm telling you, I don't know how they can beat us. I really don't.
All right, so I won't ask you for a score prediction. I'll let you share that on your own channel because I know you do that. But your level of confidence on a scale of 1 to 10 going into this game, what would you say it is of getting a win in this game?
8.3. That's where I am because it's still Belichick, and the data that we've collected for the past fucking 12 years, or even since this staff has been here, the 3 games prior, again, Zach threw 8 picks. And we haven't had an answer. So I'm very confident, but it's still Belichick. It's still the Pats. It's still Foxborough, and it's still Zach Wilson. So obviously there's still potential there. But I think, again, they're ready, man. 8.3, man. We're gonna bloody their nose.
Mr. GreenBean, first of all, everybody knows who you are. But for those that don't know who you are, I don't know what the fuck you're watching, but let everybody know how they can find you and check out all your shows.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tyson. I'm at GreenBean Jets fan on YouTube, and you can also find me on Jet Nation on YouTube. But I am trying to get to the 10,000 subscriber milestone by my 2nd year anniversary on YouTube, which is December 31st. So if you guys haven't subscribed, if you're just like, why do I got to do that? Now's the time. I would really appreciate it. I'm going to give away a bunch of shirts and a bunch of fun stuff this last month here. So help me get over the 10,000 sub milestone. It would be greatly appreciated.
Well, GreenBean, first of all, I love talking to you, man. I can talk to you all night.
All night. I can't believe it's been an hour. I can't believe it.
So thank you. I know you're busy as shit, man. So thank you very much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And then as we get closer to our playoff appearance, we'll be talking about that again.
Right on, man. Yeah, I look forward to talking with you, man. You're an easy hang, Tyson. I mean that. So yeah, thank you for having me on. I sincerely appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk to everybody next time.